Hello and welcome to Archfelder's Hacks with Archfelder and his amazing hacks. The following video is a comprehensive introductory guide to Mage exploits in the world of Warcraft. The Mage is one of the best classes with some of the most useful and powerful abilities for the use of exploits. In this video you'll discover some of the best kept secrets in the game, from how to harness overpowered damage buffs to crossing into inaccessible and unexplored parts of the world, to exploits that can dominate battlegrounds and arenas. The Mage ability Spellsteal, gained at level 64 and common to all specs, is arguably the most useful ability in-game for exploit purposes. Spellsteal allows you to take any magical ability from a mob that is highlighted by a clearly delineated border for the natural duration of the spell, or 2 minutes, whichever is longer. The story of Spellsteal really begins in 2009 when a mage named Pei first managed to solo the military quarter of Naxxramas on heroic mode, which was then an insanely difficult task, and did this by stealing the bone armor ability from the Death Knight Cavalier mobs. Since then, mages have been attempting to steal abilities from obscure mobs to gain insane game-breaking power, something Blizzard disapproves of and has attempted to prevent. But there remain many such abilities in the game, and I'm going to show you an example here in Magister's Terrace. Because of the very limited duration of Spellsteal, when you do find an amazing buff to steal, the main problem is getting to somewhere where you can use it before it expires. There's a number of ways to do this, and the most effective way is to use a Warlock or other port, but I'm going to show you a way to do it solo. Here in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, above Mogashan Palace, we find a panda that allows you to access looking for raid instances from Mists of Pandaria. Enter a raid. I'm going to Terrace of the Endless Spring here, and clear the trash. You want to clear the trash so you have immediate access to the bosses without any distractions. Then teleport out of the dungeon. Be careful to leave the instance active so you can return to it at any time. And then travel to Magister's Terrace. There you'll find various mobs with abilities which can be spell stolen, the most beneficial of which is the Sunblade Magister spell Haste ability, which stacks 20 times, giving you a game-breaking 250% haste. And having stacked that to 20, kill all the mobs to exit combat, then re-enter Terrace of the Endless Spring. And you'll now find you can use the spell Haste ability to do some insanely fast burst damage. This method can be used with any combination of Spellsteal buffs and LFR raid instances, and is amazing for farming trash and bosses beyond your eye level. Keep an eye on this channel for Spellsteal buffs. Every time I discover something interesting, I post it immediately. The level 7 ability, Blink, is notorious for constantly glitching, and used strategically can be used to teleport inside buildings or objects. In particular, stairways are particularly susceptible, as I'm showing you here. Many thin and or transient barriers, such as this Arathi Basin instance portal, are also vulnerable. Blink can allow you to quickly and easily get out of instances and explore weird, fantastic and beautiful areas you were never meant to access. I'm going to show you an example of this here in the Temple of the Jade Serpent dungeon. If you go down to the boss on the left as you enter the instance and blink through these stairs, that will allow you to escape from the dungeon and allow you to get to uninstanced Jade Forest, which I think you'll agree is fascinating. Accessing these forbidden areas can itself lead to exploits. There used to be a bridge which was taken directly from Alterac Valley just outside of the temple here. And when you stood on that bridge and entered a dungeon or a raid or a battleground, you weren't counted as part of the group, so you could effectively be an extra man on those teams. The following Blink exploit is one of the first glitches I ever discovered. Here in Ironforge, if you fly up to this bizarre looking contraption in the Gnomish area and then blink twice, you can get on the inside of Ironforge. I have very vivid memories of this. The first time I got outside and you look down on the inner workings of the Gnomish area of Ironforge, and you see the snowy mountains above you. Everything's glitching out because you were never meant to be in this particular area. Just thought this was fantastic. Felt like you're really exploring the netherworld of Azeroth. Blinking can also be used effectively in PvP. In Strand of the Ancients, these crates right in front of me can be blinked into, making Mage immune to visual-based targeting and offers some line-of-sight protection, effectively allowing the Mage to ambush the enemy embarking off the ship. Here in the Battle of Gulneas, you can use the gated entrance to the mines as an escape route when outnumbered, as there is no way to enter the mine without using Blink or other similar abilities. The mine itself is a copy of Emberstone mines from the Gulneas starting area, as you can tell if you're ever curious enough to explore it. It is quite large and interesting. Now, when you have a player standing just outside the gated entrance, you can attempt to use your Polymorph spell to bring them inside with you. When sheep, the player will pass through some solid objects. The reason you want to do this is because most players won't be able to get out of the mines, allowing you to trap them there for the entire duration of the battleground, leaving the entire enemy team a man down. Polymorph can be used as a method of entrapment in general, and if you don't know what entrapment is, you might want to look at the start of my WoW PvP exploits video. It's the most powerful PvP exploits that is known currently. Polymorph is not as effective at entrapment as some other classes' abilities, but in specific situations it can be very powerful indeed. For a long time, the level 30 talent, Alter Time, was one of the most lethal weapons in the exploiter's arsenal. It has been heavily nerfed for that reason, but it is still almost mandatory for exploiters, especially in PvP. Here in Temple of Kotumogu is a banister that can be jumped on. This gets you out of melee range in the most important focal area of the battleground. The one problem with this area is that once attacked, your opponents can move out of line of sight with relative ease, and this is where Alter Time excels, allowing you to pursue opponents whilst being able to return to safety at a moment's notice. Note that there are many such areas in PvP battlegrounds. Again, you may wish to look at the terrain exploits section of my WoW PvP exploits video to learn more. Alter Time is also very useful for making difficult jumps when terrain exploiting, by allowing you 2 shots at making a successful jump. This spot on top of the Draenei Ruins in the Eye of the Storm is excellent for avoiding attacks. However, when I want to engage the enemy, I need to jump to the front of the building. This is actually quite tricky and it is easy to fall off, but Altered Time provides me with some insurance. If you make the jump successfully, then simply cancel the buff. Alter Time can also be used to materialize inside any object or building that you know is going to spawn in the near future. Here in the Isle of Conquest, the gates open at the start of the battleground and then close again after 30 seconds. Anything under the gate at that time will be ported away. However, if you use Alter Time just before the 30-second interval expires, you get inside the gate. And this will allow you to defuse any bombs from inside the gate where you can't be attacked by the enemy, and also attack the demos if they're used against that gate. Done right with a skilled player and decent gear, this can win the game by itself, even if you play Horde. The level 84 ability Time Warp can be exploited at the start of the Battleground Silvershard Mines in Strand of the Ancients. When cast 1 second before the countdown, Time Warp will become active, but the debuff preventing it being recast for 10 minutes will be reset by the cooldown, allowing 2 mages to cast consecutive Time Warps for 1 minute and 20 seconds of plus 30% haste. Now, there's a way to apply much the same principle to reset Time Warp anywhere in the world. And you'll need to head to your garrison first and then enter the Proving Grounds. Having entered, click on Teleport out of dungeon. Now wherever you go, you'll be able to instantly reset Time Warp. I'm casting Time Warp here, and then as I approach the expiry of the buff,
welcome to the Proving Grounds.
I return to the
Your first
Proving
trial
Grounds.
will now begin. Defeat
All you need to do then is restart the Proving Grounds trial and port out of the dungeon immediately. And you'll find that the Time Warp debuff has been reset and you can cast it again immediately. Now you can also access repairs and get a health stone when you go into the Proving Grounds, and you can do this anywhere in the world. It dramatically improves leveling. The level 75 Mage talent, Unstable Magic, has an interesting property that is underdeveloped but has huge potential in time walking and other low-level areas. With this talent, when I use a primary attack on this level 85 dummy and Unstable Magic procs, the buff from attacking a low-level mob spreads to the max-level dummies on either side, doing much more damage than your normal abilities would do. The level 24 Arcane Mage ability, Arcane Missiles, and the level 15 talent Ice Flows have an interesting synergy when they are cast together. The Arcane Missiles no-clip through walls, allowing the Mage to strike freely at an opponent they can't strike back, as the Mage is out of line of sight. This is very important for Arena, where many battles turn into pillar humping contests. The level 29 Remove Curse ability and its glyph have an almost unknown property of increasing burst damage. First, get yourself cursed by something, and the easiest way to do this is to get a friendly warlock to curse you. But I happen to be in the Plaguelands, where I know this cursed mage NPC has a 10-minute curse debuff when you kill it. Then when you enter an arena or dungeon, simply remove the curse whenever you need to do some burst damage, and the glyph will give you 5% extra DPS. This small but significant DPS boost will be decisive in close contests. Finally, the Frost Mage's Icicle's ability can be utilised to take the damage from otherwise zone-specific buffs into other areas. This is a potentially game-breaking hack that was once used to kill half of the raid bosses in Mr. Pandaria during that expansion. It's the hack that broke this channel. To show how this works, go to the Pillars of Fate in Spires of Iraq, and here you'll find a 500% damage boost. Now this damage buff is restricted to the immediate zone. Here it is here, and there's swirling blue light. Just go and stand on it. So this buff is restricted to the immediate zone, but when we attack something with Frostfire Bolt, our damage is stored as an icicle above our head, and the icicle can be taken anywhere in Draenor, allowing us to take a significant amount of temporary burst damage with us. Just going to go and attack an orc. And then immediately rush back to the portal I went down to Warspear. And as we go through the portal, you'll see the icicles persist on the other side. Now, even 500% extra damage isn't that much, given we only have a maximum of 5 icicles. Horde players might be interested in the garrison mission Fury of Frostfire, where the final quest grants the player a stackable 6000% damage boost. I don't have a Horde Mage, so I haven't been able to test that out, but that has amazing potential, particularly for attacking world bosses. Okay, so that concludes this guide. I hope you found it an interesting and useful insight into the world of exploits. This is just really scratching the surface. This is pretty basic stuff. It's designed to be an introduction for newcomers. If you want to know more, then you really need to subscribe to this channel. There is so much more for you to discover.
Greetings.
And so, with all that said,
Welcome to the
thank you for
proving
watching.
grounds. Your
This has
first
been
trial
Archwell.
will now begin. You have run out of time. Shall we try again? Greetings. Welcome to the Proving Grounds. Your first trial will now begin. Defeat each wave of illusions before time runs out. This illusionary slayer will test your ability to damage your opponent. Do not worry, it cannot harm you.